Hello and welcome to the next in this video series about the obstacles and the things that are standing in your way on your journey to quitting your job and starting a business. Now today we're going to talk about selecting a product or service. And the biggest thing that people tell me when they're on this journey is like, well, how do I select a product or service because I don't know what people want? How do I know I'm going to pick something that people are going to actually want to buy? And that's a really important question to be asking, and we're going to talk about how to do that in this video today and how to pick something that you know people are going to want. It's really not as difficult as you might think, but we're going to talk about that now. When we finish talking about that in this video, I'm going to show you a way to move forward with us and get more information and more in-depth training on these topics that we've been talking about in this video series, as well as more topics that are important to you on your journey. Now, one of the things that I have heard from folks over and over who listen to the How to Quit Working show and who subscribe to our emails and read the blog and all that stuff is, you know, I'm really interested in this, but I'm just not ready to make a multi-thousand or even $100 purchase that usually comes along with coaching and masterminds and these online training things. So I'm going to give you in this video a way to get more information, more training, and go farther with us without having to spend even $100. So stay tuned for more information about that, and without any further ado, let's get into the topic of this video, which is actually about how do you select that product or service that you know people are going to buy. Now, the most important thing about starting a business, and starting a business, by the way, one that makes money, the kind that we all want, right, is that you have to switch the way that you think around from this idea mentality. Now, in one of our other trainings, we actually spend quite a bit of time about talking about switching your brain out of the idea mentality and into the customer mentality. And when you make that switch, everything changes, because when you're in the idea mentality, here's what you do. You think, oh, I got this great idea. This is such a great idea. Everybody would want this because maybe it solves a problem that you have, or maybe you've talked to some friends and they think it's an interesting idea. But what happens is that the idea is at the center of what we're doing instead of the customer actually being at the center of what we're doing. And what happens is we begin this business inside our own head, and it doesn't necessarily relate to what customers actually want. When you are presented with an offer to purchase something, whether that's, another order of fries at a restaurant, or whether it's an online training, or whether it's a car or a house or whatever it is, you know that inside your head, you're processing, what is that thing really going to do for me? Am I really going to enjoy that large order of fries? Am I really going to get a better life? Or am I really going to enjoy that car? Or is this training really going to help me? Is it really going to move me forward? These are the questions that you're asking yourself in your head as you're contemplating that purchase. Your customers are also asking themselves those questions in their head as they're contemplating purchasing the thing that you're offering them. Now, what makes a product or service successful is when you flip it around and you're already thinking about those questions that your customer is asking. Does that make sense? So before you even begin to create or even think about creating a product or service, you know what those questions are that your customer is thinking and what they're looking for and what problems they have, and you already know how they're going to think about it. And then what you're doing is you're creating or providing something that fits right in with what they're already thinking. And this is a very different way of looking at business than what you're used to, because this is how all of the successful businesses work. They all work this way. They work this way because they know that if they create something, if it's not already addressing issues that are in a customer's head, that they're not going to sell any, right? And this is the way that you've got to flip your thinking around and begin to have that conversation and understand what people are looking for and what they need help with and what they're willing to pay. And then once you open that conversation, you get to ask a lot of additional questions like, well, how much would you pay for this? Or what would you like it to include? Or what sorts of things would you like this service to do? And so forth. But you've got to start with that conversation. Now, in the many of the trainings that we've done here at How to Quit Working, we've talked about how to open up those conversations and how to begin those conversations so that you can begin to know what these people are actually thinking, these people who are going to become your customers, to begin to know what they're actually thinking so that you can provide something that will be useful to them and that will answer those questions that are already going on in their head. So remember that when you're selecting a product or service, you have to be thinking about, you have to know and be thinking about what is going on in your potential customer's mind. What are they worried about? If you're selling them perhaps a training product on photography, well then you better know what's their concern. You might know that they need to learn how to focus better, or they need to learn better composition. But that doesn't really matter. What matters is what they think they need. And that's what's so important, is flipping it around from that idea mentality to the mentality of how do you actually figure out what the customer is already thinking about and already wondering about, and then providing something that matches that. Now, what that does is because I know, I mean, you send me your emails, and I know, and you comment on Facebook, and I know from interacting with you that one of the biggest things that you worry about is, what if this damn business doesn't work? What if I don't sell anything? Well, the solution to that is to begin to have that conversation and provide things that you know people are looking for. You know, when you go and apply for a job, it's a very similar concept. If you have looked at the online listings of the website, and you looked at their job or the online jobs that company has posted, if you look at that and you see that they're looking for someone to do telemarketing, and they're looking for someone to do computer programming, and you come in there offering your graphic design skills, well, you look at the list and you saw that they're not interested in that, right? But if you come in offering telemarketing experience and telemarketing abilities, you're going to have a much better chance of getting a job, right? Because you already know that that's what they want. What you want to do is you want to create that list. You want to know what that list is for your potential customers so that you can go in and offer that thing that they're looking for.